So, you've probably heard these terms thrown around all the time in the world of AI, supervised and unsupervised learning. And yeah, they can sound pretty technical, maybe a little intimidating. But what if I told you the core ideas are actually super simple, and they're one of the most powerful tools your business can use? We're going to break down exactly what they mean, and more importantly, why you should care.
Here's the plan. First, we'll look at the two basic ways AI learns. Then we'll zoom in on each one. First, learning with a teacher, then learning on its own. After that, we'll figure out when to use which. And finally, the big payoff, how this all gives you a serious business advantage.
All right, let's dive right in. Section 1, 2 ways AI learns.
Let's just boil AI down to its absolute basics for a second. At the end of the day, it's just this, a machine learning from data. That's the whole game. The goal, to find patterns, to make decisions, to predict what might happen next. It's all just one big learning process. Which, of course, leads to the million-dollar question. If it's all about learning, then how does a machine actually do that? Well, turns out there are two main ways, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack right now. So let's start with method number 1, which is called supervised learning. And honestly, the easiest way to think about this is that it's like teaching a computer, but you're giving it a perfect answer key. You are the supervisor, the teacher in this scenario. It all comes down to this idea of labeled data. See, we feed the machine thousands or even millions of examples where we already know the correct answer. The AI just churns through all of it, starts to see the patterns, and then gets really good at predicting the right answer for new stuff it's never seen before. Think about it like this. It's like you're showing a toddler a bunch of photos. For every single one, you point and you say, "That's a cat," or "Nope, not a cat." You do that enough times, and pretty soon, that kid can spot a cat a mile away. That's supervised learning. We give it the data, the picture, and, crucially, we give it the label, the answer. And you can see how this is an absolute game changer for businesses, right? It helps us answer really specific, valuable questions. Will this customer buy something? Is this email just junk? How much money are we going to make next quarter? In every case, you're aiming for a specific, targeted prediction. Okay, so that all works great when you have a nice, neat answer keep. But what happens when you don't? What if you're just sitting on a mountain of raw data with no labels at all? Well, that is where our second method, unsupervised learning, gets to shine. With unsupervised learning, the whole game flips. Now we're dealing with unlabeled data, and the goal isn't prediction, it's pure discovery. We basically give the algorithm no answers. We just hand over the data and say, "Go find something interesting. Show me the patterns I can't see." The AI is basically an explorer. Let's go back to our photo analogy. This time, imagine just dumping a huge, messy pile of animal pictures in front of the computer. No labels, no help. What does it do? It might start sorting them on its own. It'll say, all these have wings. They go in one pile. All these have fins. They go over here. It's discovering the structure all by itself without ever being told what a bird or a fish is. That's the magic of unsupervised learning. And in business, this is where you find the hidden gold. You can throw all your customer data at it, and it might come back and show you these distinct groups you never even knew existed, like your weekend bargain hunters or your high-value weekday shoppers. It helps you find those trends and patterns you weren't even smart enough to look for. So you've got prediction on one side and discovery on the other. This brings up the big question, right? When do you use one versus the other? Let's put them side by side and make this crystal clear. It really just boils down to your goal and your data. It's that simple. If your goal is prediction, you want a specific answer, and you have labeled data to train with, then you want supervised learning. You're asking, can we predict X? But if your goal is discovery, and all you have is unlabeled data, then you're using unsupervised learning. The question is way more open-ended. What's hiding in here? What are the patterns? Okay, we've covered the tech side. Now for the most important part. So what? Why does knowing the difference between these two things actually matter for your business? How does this give you an actual competitive advantage? Because the main difference you see isn't just a technical detail. It's actually a really powerful strategic idea. And understanding it is what unlocks the real value. And here it is. This just nails it. Supervised learning helps you answer the questions you already have. But unsupervised learning? That helps you discover the questions you didn't even know you should be asking. One is for confirming what you suspect, and the other is for exploring the total unknown. And that simple distinction is what leads to real-world results. When you know which tool to grab for which job, you stop guessing and you start knowing. You can build crazy targeted marketing campaigns because you've discovered customer groups you never saw before. You can optimize your products by finding out how people actually use them. This isn't just some techie detail. This is a fundamental strategic advantage.
So I guess I'll just leave you with this final thought. Whether you're trying to predict a specific future or discover a hidden opportunity, these are your two main tools. The real question you should be asking yourself is my company using them to their full potential?